Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, lived a princess so fair they called her Snow White. Her skin was as white as freshly fallen snow, her lips as red as a blooming rose, and her hair as black as ebony wood. But her beauty was a curse, for her stepmother, the queen, was a vain and jealous woman. Every day, the queen would consult her magic mirror, asking, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And every day the mirror would reply, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." But as Snow White blossomed into a young woman, her beauty began to outshine the queen's. One fateful day, the mirror's answer changed. "My queen, you are fair, 'tis true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you." Consumed by rage and jealousy, the queen could not bear to be second best. She commanded her huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and put an end to her, bringing back her heart as proof. The huntsman, however, had a kind heart. Seeing the princess's innocence and terror, he couldn't bring himself to do the evil deed. "Run away, child," he urged her. "Hide in the woods and never return to the castle." Frightened and alone, Snow White ran as fast as she could, deeper and deeper into the dark, tangled forest. Trees seemed to grab at her with gnarled branches, and strange eyes watched her from the shadows. Finally, exhausted and weeping, she stumbled into a small clearing. There, nestled amongst the trees, was a tiny, peculiar cottage. Cautiously, she knocked, but there was no answer. The door creaked open, and she peeked inside. Everything was miniature. 7 little chairs, 7 little plates, and upstairs, 7 little beds. The cottage was a mess, so Snow White, with her kind and helpful nature, decided to clean it up. She washed the dishes, swept the floor, and tidied everything until the little house sparkled. Worn out from her work, she fell asleep across the 7 little beds. That evening, the owners of the cottage returned. They were 7 dwarfs who worked all day in the nearby mines, digging for gold and jewels. They were astonished to find their home clean and a beautiful princess asleep in their beds. When Snow White awoke and told them her story, their hearts went out to her. They offered her a safe place to stay, in exchange for keeping house for them. Snow White happily agreed, and a joyful new life began for her with her 7 new friends. Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey. Back at the castle, the queen returned to her mirror. "Magic mirror on the wall, who now is the fairest one of all?" she asked, confident in her victory. But the mirror revealed the truth. Over the 7 jeweled hills, beyond the 7th fall, in the cottage of the 7 dwarfs, Snow White is still the fairest of them all. The queen was furious. She realized she had been tricked. Using dark magic, she disguised herself as an old peddler woman selling wares. She crafted a poison apple, one side, red and tempting, the other side pale, but the red side held a potion of sleeping death. The disguised queen traveled to the dwarf's cottage. Snow White, despite the dwarf's warnings not to speak to strangers, was charmed by the old woman and her shiny red apple. "Just one bite," the queen coaxed, "to taste its magic wishing power." Snow White took a single, fateful bite and immediately fell to the floor, into a sleep so deep it was like death. The queen cackled, her wicked plan complete. When the dwarfs returned, they were heartbroken to find their beloved Snow White lifeless on the floor. They chased the evil queen to a cliff, where a sudden lightning strike sent her plunging to her doom. The dwarfs wept, for they could not bear to bury such beauty in the cold, dark ground. They built a coffin of glass and gold and placed Snow White inside, keeping a constant vigil. For a long, long time, she lay there, as beautiful in sleep as she had been in life. One day, a prince from a neighboring kingdom was riding through the forest and came upon the glass coffin. He was instantly captivated by Snow White's serene beauty. It felt as though he had been searching for her his entire life. Leaning down, he gave her a gentle kiss. Instantly the spell was broken. Snow White's eyes fluttered open. True love's kiss had conquered the queen's dark magic. The prince and Snow White returned to his kingdom, where they married and lived happily ever after, proving that true beauty, born from a kind and gentle heart, will always triumph over envy and darkness. Thank you so much for joining us for this classic tale. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more timeless adventures. We'll see you in the next video.